Sakuyamon is back, and oh my, it's good. It's good, don't get me wrong, but it still feels like there's something missing. Let's get into it. 4 of the Viximons. Of course, your turn once per turn. When you use an option card with a cost of 2 or more, you draw 1. We are going to run heavy options in this deck, or it's a heavy count, I should say, so Viximon is going to pop off a lot of times. 3 of the new Ex4 Renamons. So this new Kuzuhamon, if I'm saying it right, she allows you to play Digimon when you play option cards, and that is why with all this new support you see on play and when Digivolving, is because you will be able to trigger their effects using Kuzuhamon, since it's kind of like a pseudo Siegemon, Aegistramon. So this Renamon Digivolve 0 from Viximon, another reason why we're using Viximons. On play, until the end of your opponent's turn, 2 of your opponent's Digimon with 4000 DP or less can't attack, which is pretty good. So that's a good way of kind of a pseudo blocker. It's like, okay, well, you have 2 bodies, I'm about to die next turn. Even if you just drop her for 4, now you can kind of prevent that. Of course, I think if they just Digivolve, then it'll bypass it, and then you're kind of screwed anyway. Anyway, inherit. Your turn once per turn. When you use an option card with the cost of 2 or more, gain 1 memory. It is going to come up. Next, one of the OG BT5 Renamons. On play, one of your opponent's Digimon gains security attack +1. Since the Kuzuhamon does allow you to play Digimon from her own sources, this can come up. You can play it, and then you give something minus security attack -1, which would probably be better than preventing that. Really depends on the situation. Just one of those. It's not like a hit or miss if you want to run 4 of those or not. 4 of the EX2 Renamons, which I think is still probably one of the best ones. On play, reveal the top 4 cards of your deck. Add a card with Cubimon, Taomon, and or Sakuyamon in its name, and 1 Rika. Your turn once per turn. When you use an option card with a cost of 2 or more, you gain 1 memory. So same thing as the new EX4 Renamon. Last but not least, 4 of the BT10 Renamon. When you on play, reveal 4 cards from your deck. Add 1 option card with plugin in its name, and 1 yellow Tamer card among them to your hand. The inherit here once per turn. When you use an option card with the cost of 2 or more, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 2000 DP for the turn. So I love this deck because it can be very controlling as far as giving a lot of DP reduction to your opponent's Digimon, and this Renamon does kick that off. That's it for the rookie lineup. Onto the champions. 4 of the Yokomon, play cost of 4, which is pretty good. Digivolve 2 from Renamon, so instead of 3. On play and when Digivolving, until the end of your opponent's turn, one of your Digimon gains blocker. That's clutch if you need a blocker, and even if you want to give it to like your Mega, you don't want to necessarily give it to him or her, whatever it is. The inherit. Once per turn, when you use an option card with the cost of 2 or more, you give one of your opponent's Digimon minus 2000 DP. So now we're up to minus 4000. I love this one because the Kuzuhamon, when you play it, the on play triggers, and now you can make the Kuzuhamon blocker if you want to, or just make this a blocker if you attack with Kuzuhamon and now you don't want it to get popped. There's your blocker to protect it. 2 of the EX2 Cubimons. When Digivolving, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. Add 1 option card with plugin in its name to your hand and place the rest in the bottom of your deck. The inherit, same thing. When you play an option card with a play cost of 2 or more, minus 2000 DP. So again, still we're at 4000 DP with other Renamon. The reason I don't run too many of these is because you kind of want to be careful, especially when you Digivolve and you're revealing so many cards. You can only get option cards with this one, or plugin option cards. If you need pieces to Digivolve, you're gonna miss that. So that's why I'm running 2. The downfall of this deck when I was playtesting is the Kuzuhamon and Sakuyamon just still lack DP. They still have 11,000 DP. So I'm throwing in the old BT5 Cubimon, the inherit. Your turn. All of your opponent's security Digimon get minus 1000 DP. So it's just to kind of help the Megas survive a little bit, and it's a Cubimon. Last but not least, we'll do 2 of the BT10 Cubimons. When Digivolving, you may activate one of these effects. Return 1 option card with plugin in its name from your trash to your hand, which can come up, especially if you use them. Second, by trashing 1 option card with plugin in its name, you get to draw 2, which is probably more beneficial because Sakuyamon helps you get option cards with plugin in its name from the trash. Drawing 2 and kind of speeding up the process of the pieces that you need is pretty nice. For the level 5s, the new Taomon, if I'm saying that correctly. The name of this card, Digimon, is also treated as Taomon close brackets, Digivolve 3 from Cubimon. On play, when Digivolving, return one of your opponent's Digimon with 6000 DP or less to its owner's hand. Do you know why that is so nuts? Is because if you play an option card for free, we'll get into some combos, but when you play an option card for free with Rico, or if you just play one at 2, right? You play one for 2, and if you have Renamon, it gives you minus 2000. So now you're making an 8000 DP Digimon, which is just about every ultimate. Drop them to 6000, and now when you Digivolve, that's a target that has 6000, and now you can throw that back into their hand. The card is absolutely nuts. Late game, it's really good. 2 of the EX2 Taomons, just being able to play Rika when you Digivolve is really fantastic. And Rikas just help you so much more because when you attack, you can suspend the Rika and play plugins for free. It's, yeah. What I love about it is that it doesn't say if you don't have a Rika, play one. It just tells you to play one. So if you have 1 or 2, you can still play another one. The inherit here is when you use a option card with play cost of 2 or more. Another minus 2000 DP. So now we're up to minus 6000 DP. Then top it off, BT10 Taomons. When Digivolving, you may use one option card with plugin in its name from your hand without meeting its color requirement and without paying its cost. That is very key because the plugin cards, if you don't have a Tamer, you can't use them unless you have the color. So if you don't have a Tamer and you want to go up to Mega, this Taomon allows you to do that, playing that green plugin card just by Digivolving into this, since you can ignore the color requirements. So that's it for the ultimates. Onto the Megas. We'll start off with the Kuzuhamons. 3 of. This Digimon is also treated as Sakuyamon in its name, which is really important because when you swing, you could activate Rika's effect. When Digivolving, you may use an option card with a play cost of 5 or less in your hand without paying the cost. Your turn once per turn, when you use an option card with the cost of 2 or more, you may play one Taomon or one level 4 or lower yellow or blue Digimon card from this Digimon's Digivolution cards without paying the cost. That's nuts. So now you can Digivolve, play an option card. In this case, let's say you want to play the blue one because you're going to attack and you give it jamming. Now since you did that, now you can play the Taomon. I'm going to wait for the combos. Really nuts. Last but not least, the other Sakuyamon, or the actual Sakuyamon. When Digivolving, unsuspend one of your Digimon. And for each Tamer you have in play, return one option card with plugin in its name from your trash back to your hand. Comes up, and such a good effect. Your turn, when you use an option card with the cost of 2 or more, one of your opponent Digimon gets minus 3000 DP for the turn. What I love about this is that it's not once per turn. So if you play 2, now you have minus 9000 plus an additional minus 3000, deleting something with 12,000 DP. And then not to mention, if they get played for free from Rika. That's it for the level 6s. I'm really iffy on the ratios, and that's what I've been doing. I was running maid mode or Miko mode. Reason I don't is because there's a little chain here in which you could actually have both of them out. And when I did have maid mode in my hand, more than that, I didn't want to Digivolve into it yet. Or if I did, I wanted to wait like another turn, but then the match was over at that point. So personally, I don't think it's necessary to run one. If you really want to, you could run 1, 2 max, but other than that, I wouldn't run more than 2. We're not running any level 7s just because this deck, I feel the space is too cramped. You can, if you want to run a Shine Ruin mode, you definitely can. I've seen people do it and it works. I'm just choosing not to because I want to have option cards in my hand. When I do have the Kuzuhamon or Sakuyamon, I'm able to utilize them to their full potential. So moving on to Tamers, of course, 4 of the Rika. And one thing in the beginning I was saying this deck was kind of missing. I think one of the things missing is a new damn Rika. Why don't we have a new one? You have 2 Zakatos already, you have 2 Henrys, yet we're missing a Rika. We only have 1. Anyway, this Rika, it is a memory cell Tamer, leaves you at 3. Your turn, when you attack with a Digimon with Renamon, Cubimon, Taomon, or Sakuyamon in its name, you may suspend this Tamer to use one option card with plugin in its name from your hand without paying its memory cost. So that is why it's very important that those other cards have. This card is also Taomon or Cubimon, and Kuzuhamon is also Sakuyamon. because now these Rikas can activate when you attack with them. Moving on into the options, and there's a lot of ways you can run these. I'm gonna start off with 2 offensive plug-in A's. Honestly, you could get away with 1. I'm still trying 2 because Sakuyamon is still kind of a slow deck. So I think just the offensive plugins just kind of help it faster, kind of a little more aggression, right? So this one, if you have a Tamer in play, you can use it without meeting its color requirements. Give one of your Digimon security attack +1. The security, reveal 3 cards, add 1 Tamer card among them to your hand, place the remaining cards at the bottom of the deck in any order, then add this card to your hand. Up next, which arguably still the best plugin card, is this Digivolution plugin S. If you want to run 4 of these, you can. It does come up. So again, if you have a Tamer, you can play it. Draw 1 card, then one of your Digimon can Digivolve into a Digimon card in your hand for a Digivolution cost of 3 for free. Security effect, reveal top 3 cards of your deck, add 1 Digimon card among them to your hand, place the remaining at the bottom, this card goes to your hand. I like that all their security effects put them into your hand, which is really nice, especially because if they're there. Now they'll go into your hand and you're able to use them. 2 of the high-speed plugin D, again, Sakuyamon and Kuzuhamon have really weak DP. Giving them jamming, not only jamming, but then they can't be blocked, is really crucial. So even maybe running 3 if you want to get rid of one of these. That way you could be more consistent with the jamming. The security effect is you draw 1 and then this goes into your hand. Up next, 1 of defense plugin C. Again, you could substitute one of the red ones for another one of this one if you really want a defense plugin C. This card is just insane. It does play for free from the Kuzuhamon. Until the end of your opponent's turn, one of your Digimon gains blocker and it gains reboot. And it can be deleted by your opponent's effect. So nothing can really get rid of it unless you swing over it. Security effect, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. You may play one Digimon card with the play cost of 4 or less among them without paying its play cost. Place the rest on the bottom and goes back to your hand. This can be really clutch if it's there, and then you reveal Renamons, and let's say you reveal the one that gives -1 security attack, or you get to basically stun 2 Digimon with 4000 DP or less, or the other one, and now you could search through your deck for pieces. It's handy. So that's it for the plugins. Last 2 options that I'm using are play cost of 5s. Now before I reveal these cards, I was trying out Kaiser Nail because it's an option card that's less than 5, it's a 4 cost. So now when you would Digivolve into the Kuzuhamon, you could use that Kaiser Nail. And now the Kaiser Nail takes out a body underneath, and now Kuzuhamon takes out another body underneath. You would get 3 bodies just by Digivolving into Kuzuhamon. However, it worked out. It did. It worked out. But I felt that Kuzuhamon was already doing that anyway. I'm like, okay, do I really want to be thirsty into dumping out more bodies? Yes, I do. But I didn't. Instead, I went with Megalospark. Megalospark is just nuts. Especially because there's not much removal in this deck besides DP deduction. When you would use this card, if you have a yellow Tamer in play, reduce it by 1, it would cost 4. Not that it matters, it will get played for free if you Digivolve into the Kuzuhamon, and then you can play Megalo. Main effect, one of your opponent's Digimon gets -8000 DP until the end of your turn. Here's the thing. If you play a Megalo and you have Sakuyamon, well now, just if you have Renamon underneath as an inherit and a Cubimon, that's another 4000. You're decreasing something -12,000 DP. If you have the Sakuyamon, that's another 3000. Now that's 15,000 DP. Nothing's going to survive even if it has protection, unless it says you cannot decrease DP. Even if you have protection, the game continuously checks your DP, and it's gonna keep getting checked at 0, so it will get deleted. DP and the Digivolving right now are the top ways of getting rid of bodies. And you guys already know what it's time for. I'm about to ask for all that energy into hitting that sub if you haven't subbed yet. Like the video, comment down below what you guys think. Are you guys gonna use Kaiser Nail or Megalo or something just different? Let me know down below. Let's get into the combos. For starters, you really want to be cautious on which Renamon you want to hard drop. Again, because I was saying in the beginning or earlier on, if you hard drop this one that just reveals that you could get options or a Tamer, and you don't have a champion and you need one, then it's not a good idea to Digivolve or to hard play this Renamon. So usually you could just Digivolve into that. Of course, another thing here, as I stated, you just Digivolve into Yokomon, right, for 2, and you know you have no security. Now you give it self blocker, or if you already had another Renamon in play, you can give that one blocker. So now when you end up Digivolving, and let's say you swing with this one will protect it in case, you know, they're swinging for game or swinging over your body at that point. So let's say Rico's out of play right now, and we are at 3. Even if we weren't at 3, right, you're at 2 or 1 or whatever, that's where this Talmon comes into play. And now you can end up playing a Rika for just Digivolving, choking, and now next turn you do go back up to 3. Or if you already had the Rika and you are at 3, you Digivolve into the other Talmon, or in this case here, let's say you don't have a Rika, Digivolve to that Talmon for 3, and you have a Sakuyamon. So now when you Digivolve, you get to play an option card with plugin. You play that for free. And now you can go to, say you go into Kuzuhamon for 3. Now you use Kuzuhamon's effect, right, when you Digivolve, and now you can pop something if you want. Now you play Megalo Blaster, give minus 8,000, minus 10,000, minus 12,000, just for playing that, and you played it for free. After that resolves, now Kuzuhamon, you did play an option card, you can play something out, so now you can play another Talmon. And now here's where I love this, where now if you end up swinging, say you swing and you survive, you can go ahead and go into the Sakuyamon. If you did have Arena at that point, now you can't get Megalo back into your hand from Sakuyamon, but you can get Digivolution plugin S. And let's say you did do the minus 12,000 and they're at 15,000, so you need another 3,000. Now let's say you go ahead and swing with the Renamon, use Rika, right? So now you get to use a plugin for free. You can go ahead and, if you don't want the Renamon to die, you can play High Speed plugin D, and or you can just play the green one that you got again, going into another Cubimon. You can end up going back into this Cubimon, or into that Cubimon I should say. And now when Digivolving, you can return a plugin back into your hand. You can return either or that you used. In this case it would be this one. Now it goes back into your hand, and now you swing. And since plugin got played, now you're giving another minus 3,000, and now you could still end up Digivolving into another Talmon for 3, and now you could play a second Rika for free, and there you go. Now you have all this. And the thing is, if you didn't have, let's say if you had the Rika, right, for the Talmon instead, if it was this Talmon instead, or the Dalmon, when you play that Dalmon, now you could give something blocker. If you give that one blocker after an attack that you Digivolve to Sakuyamon, well, now it's going to unsuspend, and now it's going to be a blocker that can block on your opponent's turn. So now next turn, let's say this gets deleted or whatever, even if it doesn't, well, now you got a Talmon that's ready to go back into the Kuzuhamon for 3, right? If you didn't attack, you just do it for 3, and now you play, of course, a plugin, or if you have another Megalo in your hand, now you give this blocker a reboot, and now you use it, and now you can bring back Talmon. It doesn't have to be Talmon, it could be any, basically, right? It could be Rena. In this case, if you had the blocker Cubimon, when it gets unplayed, you could spit it out. Now you could give, now this is a Sakuyamon blocker, so now you got 2 blockers. Now, since you play that, you get minus 3,000 on a Digimon. And what's cool about this, that I love about this thing, is that you could split them up. It's not all in one Digimon, right? So let's say Sakuyamon here will give 3,000 to one of your opponent's Digimon, and another 2,000 on the same one, and then the other 2,000 will be on the other one. So you could split these up however you want. And of course, if you were to have 2 different Sakuyamons, now it's minus 6, 8, 10 for just playing one. Play another one, that's another minus 6. And with what's awesome is these Rikas, if you just swing with one, you get to tap both. They do stack, so you can play both. So now you could give her jamming, and let's say you want to Digivolve, well, the Yokomon wouldn't be there. And let's say you want to give something, you get security attack +1 to her as well. So now you have jamming, can be blocked, security attack +1. So that's -6,000 for each plugin that you do play, and that is why I love Sakuyamon so much, especially when you already have Rico on there. And it's stupid. If you guys didn't check it out yet, go ahead and check that big boy out. And I'll see you guys next time.